You know, the morning of the day I broke my arm, I had no clue that my life was going to change. That morning, I remember waking up early at IMG Academy, my junior year of high school, going to breakfast, and headed to the gym to get shots up before practice. Going to lift, going into practice, and having a good day. I mean, my team was winning, and I was playing well, only for me to go and get a steal, right, on a fast break, go up for a dunk. And as I was in the air, as I grabbed onto the rim, I had the realization that all my momentum, instead of going up, was going forward. I grabbed onto the rim. I couldn't hang on. And as I fell off the rim, my legs swung up in the air, kind of flipped backwards and put my left hand down behind me to break my fall. When my hand hit the ground, the only sensation I felt was like the bending of my bones. Rather than feel the release of the tension, I heard the snap. And little did I know that that moment, that day, that catastrophe would be the main spark behind the inspiration to Uncontainable. So, that being said, get ready for Uncontainable by me, Lou Hutchinson, featuring my special guest, Jalen Miller. Welcome to Uncontainable, the sports podcast where we talk about the pain behind the passion and the triumph that comes from that. I'm so excited today. I'm here joined by my friend that I know for a very long time, Jalen Miller. Played at Rutgers, played at Oral Roberts, getting ready to go into his professional basketball career here soon.
And
Jalen,
I'm
how are you doing
blessed,
today?
blessed to be here. Like I said, it's every day is a blessing, being able to wake up and like you said, I'm getting ready to start my career. But first nothing ever happens without you know, me being able to be thankful every single day for the opportunities that are presented, like too many times it's overlooked for someone like us, someone who works so hard for goals to be obtained to appreciate the little things, like just being able to walk, be able to smile and enjoy, spend time with your family, everything like that. So everything's just a blessing for me, man.
Man, yeah, that's just so amazing. For me, I've known you for a
Facts.
long time. I've known you since I think I was 7 or 8 or
For
something around there. So I've seen a lot of your journey, how hard you work, um, you just going through some of the things that you went through and getting out on the other side and being successful and being to where you're at now. So I think that's really something that I'm just excited
sure.
to get into today. But just to start off, for yourself as a hooper, what would you say your story is as an athlete?
That's a great question, and I won't try to get too deep into it right now, but I would just say overall, it's a story of adversity and of learning. I would definitely say I've had both the ups and the downs, and I'm grateful for both of them. Like a lot of people will ask, do you have any regrets with the way that you went about it? I acknowledge that I wasn't perfect and that I'm still not perfect and I'm growing every single day. But at the end of the day, no, I love all the experiences. And if everything was good up until my pro career that I'm about to enter into now, I wouldn't be prepared to deal with adversity. So, like, I would say I'm just grateful for the opportunities that's presented to me. and that I have the free will given by God to make my own decisions and to grow and learn from each one that I make.
Man, man, that's amazing. And I think that as athletes, a lot of time we go through a lot of those different adversities in our own different ways. And kind of like you said, going through those kind of just prepares you for life, but specifically for you going into this pro career, which is a big step, a big part. I'm personally excited for you and the endeavors that you're getting ready to enter into. But going back to those adversities a little bit, touching on those, right? What were some of those? I know that you dealt with some of your own
Mhm.
personal injury in the past. You're somebody that when I went through my personal injury, when I broke my arm, that I kind of
Mhm.
related to a little bit in terms of what you went through. So can you really just touch on that, talk about that
Yeah,
a
I
little bit?
mean, obviously, nobody ever can tell you when it happens or how it happens. Hopefully, it never happens to athletes, knock on wood. But the
Right.
injuries, man, it happens and it's true. And like you said, it's not even just about the things on the court that come with it. It's about your life, because what a lot of people don't understand about student athletes like ourselves, we pour so much time into getting to a certain level, and even if it's not Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, JUCO, you put in time to get to that level, right? So it's almost as if
Hmm.
people tend to forget, what we've sacrificed for all that. Like, and it almost becomes like a narrative where we're just athletes, but in turn we didn't have the same childhood as
Yep.
everybody else, Like I laugh all the time. Even now, I tell some of my
Yeah.
friends and family, look, they ask me, "Oh, you going on vacation?" I'm like, "Shit, I'm not gonna lie. This might be one of my first real vacations because my vacations always involve basketball. It's where basketball took me. That's where, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
and I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
as much as I was affected on the court by my injury, I realized while I
Mhm.
couldn't play basketball, I'm like, shoot, where am I outside of basketball in life? Obviously, I was a good student. That was just discipline because I knew how you do anything, how you do everything. I work hard in the classroom, I'm gonna get the results on the court. But outside of just school and
Mhm.
ball, I had to sort of reflect like, you know, what else am I doing in life? And you don't think about that when you're younger, when we're growing up, and we just having fun with basketball and working hard trying to achieve some goal that we set for ourselves, like we don't think about the things that are outside the lines. So I think it definitely helped me uh in between the ears and really, honestly, and let's go without injuries. Let's go into COVID. COVID, nobody could hoop, injured or
Mhm.
not, nobody could hoop, and that is another
Yeah.
perspective of like hoops was taken away from us, what would we have done then? That's what got me thinking. That's what got me into finding
Right.
new hobbies, finding other interests in life. So I think overall, like I said, I don't regret anything. I don't think that anything happens without a purpose that God has thrown at me. So even through the injuries, like I still like to find some light and look at the great outcome that it's given me and the good perspective of life that it's given me.
That's big. And even just talking about
Uh-huh.
COVID, I mean, that switched up everything
Facts.
for
Facts.
everybody, right? Regardless of sport. I mean, that just
Yeah.
changed our lives, right? And I knew kind of what basketball was to me before COVID. So COVID being kind of a stretch where it's like you got to kind of put stuff on hold. That was, a big shift. Um, but going back to you, what for you, even before COVID, even before we were in that space, or even before, your injury, what would you say basketball was to you? And what do you think the pivot was as you were going through some of these things where you kind of had to take a bit of a hiatus, like the rest of us
Shoot,
have?
before COVID, I would say basketball has always been my way of no matter what, no matter how I'm doing or what I'm doing, whether I'm on the court, whether I'm involved, when I'm coaching, it's been my way of being
Mhm.
happy because, and that's just simple. Like At the end of the day, people tend to forget. Do people get paid millions of dollars for basketball? Yes. But at the end of the day, basketball is a game. It's a game. It's a game.
Yeah,
It's no different than any of these other games that people play for fun, that aren't even for money. It's a game. The only difference is you gotta make more sacrifices. And for me, looking at basketball in the simple lens of it just being a game, I know that there's more important stuff in life than basketball. But basketball itself is more than just a game for me because my family, and by family, I'm not talking about my blood. I mean you. I'm talking about the program, the AU programs that my parents had coached since growing up. I've
yeah,
networked and I've branched out to a whole new family outside of my own through the game of basketball. Like I have shared experiences with some of my best friends today, like people that I'll have in my wedding through basketball. I've traveled, you know,
right.
across the country, and now soon I'm going to be outside the country because of basketball. So like
Yeah,
it's more than just a game for me, but simple enough at the end of the day, you gotta look at it like, it's not the most important thing in life. It's just a game. The ball's gonna stop bouncing one day, but it has and it will continue to give me leverage in some areas of life. It's giving me great from being a point guard, it's giving me great perspective on how to talk to people, how to communicate, how to work on team, how to work in teams, work with other people, how to deal with adversity, full court press, zone, how to make different reads, not even just reads on the basketball court, but like how to sit back and be patient and read the room, in general. Like there's just so many avenues that basketball has helped me grow as a person, not just a player, but as a person. So, like I said, basketball, if I had to summarize it, it's just pure joy for me. Pure joy for me in the success, the failures, and the lessons learned. It's just joy.
that's big, and I think you know, I know you're a little humble, and you talked about how it made you feel, but y'all, this dude can hoop. Okay, he can go. He can go. Listen to all these things, all the things that basketball kind of means to you, and just the type of leader that you became, because of basketball, the type of person that you are. Uh, it's really just been beautiful to see that for the past
Yes.
10 plus years, right? And, going on from that, going into a little bit of the, harder times, the harder subjects, right? When you first got into the high school, I believe you had went and you had what
I
was it
just,
called?
yeah, my shoulder.
I believe
Yep.
you dislocated your
Yep.
shoulder,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about what that was like for you and what you went through dealing with that at the
So
time.
that was probably the biggest and earliest bump in the road for me because that was at a time that my recruitment was really on the roll. Like I was playing the best basketball in my high school career,
Hmm.
like, and even though like I started at point guard as a freshman, ever since I was a freshman, I worked on expanding my role. I worked on various areas of my game. I worked on being a three-level scorer and a great passer and a good defender, where I had this complete game. It's like we actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you have me relive it a little bit. We were about to go into a big tournament uh, near our school. I think it was
Hmm.
called the BKIT, and the Bob Kirk Invitational Tournament, and there were going to be top schools out like the WCAC and all that, like Gonzaga and all them stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, I was supposed to play 100% in those games, and there was supposed to be a lot
Right.
of coaches coming and all that, and I felt like that was probably the time for me to like really up my level and get like all these offers and all that. But like, like you said, I got hurt. I fortunately I did get to play in some of the games, but I had to wear this fat old shoulder brace. And I'll tell you what, as dark and as hard of a time that was for me, I still found a way to say, man, no matter what, I'm blessed to be playing this game. I'm physically able to be out there, so I wasn't gonna give no excuses while I was in
Right.
between them lines. I wasn't gonna give an excuse to myself, and I definitely wasn't gonna do that to my teammates being a leader on my team. So even if it wasn't the best situation for me, like, even if it was tough for me to get my shots off with everything going on, I found a way to make my teammates better, to make my team better. And I think that's what coaches saw from me, knowing what they had seen before. And then on top of that, seeing me fight through that adversity is probably what made them think that, this guy can go. This guy has purpose when he's out there. He's not just out there for himself. He's not just out there for the stats and the glory, but he actually wants to win. And that's a testament to not myself, because I'll tell you what, I'm a product of the people around me. It's a testament of my teammates from the past. It's a testament of my mentors, people I used to look up to and still do to this day. Testament of my parents, most importantly, in building me with my character. So, I as much as I was physically out there, I want to credit like all those who've been in my life and part of my journey who shaped me to be that way.
Yeah. And I remember I heard about your shoulder injury, but I believe it was Team
Mm.
Durant tryouts. And that's the first time I saw you with the brace and everything. And first time I had went and saw you with kind of dealing with that whole situation. And it was kind of eye-opening for me, man, like, oh wow, he dislocated his shoulder, he's still out here, right? And that was, a level of toughness that I, at that time, personally admired. Uh, so yeah, but I mean, just like you said, that's a big testament to who you are, to the people that you surrounded yourself with. Knowing your parents, the toughness that they put into you, that they put into Jordan, is definitely
For
very
sure.
evident. So I can definitely see where that comes from when it comes to you. So then you touched a little bit on kind of like your recruiting, what it was like going through that and pushing through that adversity. Going into kind of those next steps as you're near the end of high school, as you're going to recruiting and you're preparing to go to Rutgers, right? What's on your mind in that time, mentally, emotionally, you know, going into transitioning to a new place, going to college, dorm, being away from home, getting ready to play a different brand of basketball because we all know that high school and college are very drastically different when it comes to the
Of
physicality and the
course.
speed. So what was going through your head at that time?
I would definitely say I was really excited. Like I'll tell you what, I started high school really in the 8th grade, and it was a boarding school at St. James. So I was sort of prepared, or
Uh-huh.
honestly, a lot more prepared than other high schoolers when it came to coming to college, because I was already living on a different campus. I was living in dorms. Um, and I knew how to work hard without my family being there. I had to teach myself how to work hard and how to carry consistency. So going into college, I just said, man, I'm a new kid on the block again. I gotta work hard, and honestly, 2 times, 3 times as hard as the guys who were around me. And I went in there with that mindset, and I think that helped me a lot. Even through, like you said, at the end of the day, high school and college are two completely different games. Completely different games.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that helped me was going in there with the idea of being a sponge, not rejecting everything new, but really like taking it all in and trying to process it and asking for help. Like for any like young athletes out there, I'll tell you, man, don't be cool, bro. Like, it's not cool to be the most quiet in the gym. It's not cool to be last in line in the drills. If you can get up there, get up there. If you want to learn, best way to learn quick. Like,
Hmm.
don't be nervous. I never, not don't be nervous, but don't be bashful of your game. Be confident in yourself, and don't let anybody take that from you either. You're gonna be able to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect except for Jesus Christ. You can make mistakes and build off of it, learn from it, and be open to new ways to deal with adversity. Because I know that I had to. A lot of adversity was thrown my way. I knew that I wasn't going to come in and start right away as a freshman, but in my mind, that was my goal every single day, and that was my purpose. So I approached it that way. But I mean, other than that, it's really just a mindset of staying consistent and the mindset of staying hungry, always having a reason to get better and to want to be better. That's the most important thing.
And I guess it was a little bit different for you, being that you came from a situation where you formerly already came from a boarding situation. Um, something that you had to get acclimated to a little bit younger, and then going into Rutgers, going into a Power Five program, having a lot of the things that um, you would have been able to get or ask for at the college level in terms of facilities and resources and all that, but also having, the highest criteria when it comes to competition, having had, teammates that are still playing Power Five right now, or having teammates that are in the NBA right now or playing pro, and all of those different situations. So, you got thrown into the fire, and I think you had the right mindset going about it, rather than just being like, I'm just gonna coast or whatever the case may be and just try
Mhm.
and figure it out. You went in saying, no, I'm gonna compete every single day. Um, I feel like that's really just the way that you should be going about it. Going from there, right? What were going into that freshman year, as you got acclimated, as you got adjusted, what were some, difficulties or adversities that you dealt with at Rutgers as you were going into college in that kind of first section of your
So
college career?
the biggest difficulty, and I share this with a lot of people, changing my shot, and confidence in my
Hmm.
shot. Initially, I've always shot sort of, especially in high school, I shot sort of in this middle of my face. And I guess,
Hmm.
at the college level, people probably like shooting up here, 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 whatever. And I tried making those adjustments and I lost all confidence in my shot. And it was tough. It was a tough time for me. Like, being someone who's so excited to get on the court and stuff, and then not always confident to shoot the ball at the ability that I was before. It broke me down a little bit, not just physically, but mentally, both on and off the court. It was tough because it's like something that I've been doing since I was a kid, since third, second grade. Like, I've had ball in my hands and I've been working and
Right.
I've been good at it, like really good at it, to where I could get to that point.
Hmm.
Losing that confidence definitely gave me a different perspective and how I need to approach things. I would definitely say, uh, it took a lot of soul searching to see if I really wanted to do this, because it takes a lot of work to get back what you lost. It takes a lot of misses. I'll say a lot of air balls, a lot of bricks, some swooshes, then turn into a lot of swooshes, then different type of touch and stuff around the rim. Like, it took a lot of grit and grind up here. N- Leave alone, let alone all the time it took in the gym, the hours up here. That's what it took for me to push past that barrier. In the meantime, even though I wasn't that great at shooting, I made sure that I was great at everything else. I made sure that I was picking up 94 feet. I made sure that I was doing the little things that other people didn't even want to do to get on the floor. And that's part of the adversity that I'm so grateful for. Because I promise you, if I was still at that time, even though I'm a great shooter now, if I was so content with myself at the level of shooting ability that I had then, I promise you I would not be nearly as good as a defender as I am today. And that completed my game. Like I've always been good at defense, but I really doubled down on how can I contribute in a way that other people can or will not. And I made sure that I made my presence known on the court, even if I wasn't shooting the ball. So I'm very grateful for the experience, and I'm grateful for being able to push past it as well and to collect my game as a whole. So, it was definitely a tough time for me, but I feel like I came out on top.
And I don't think a lot of people kind of talk about those little
Hmm.
things. Changing your
For
shot
sure.
can mess you up.
And just to let you know, like
That can.
a lot of people will look at me now, like you can go back and look at my stats, nothing amazing up until this last year
Mhm.
when I really played healthy and, with confidence. I was shooting 0%, zero from three for my first 2 seasons of college basketball. And then I think I went up to 30% or something. And then this past year, I was 45.6. People look at the 45, they don't look at the zero. They don't remember the
Right.
amount of hours and time that I had to put into this. Like, and I'm not saying that from like a standpoint of, oh, I deserve, all the praise for all the time that I put into it. No, I don't. I just did it because I wanted to. I didn't need like a bunch of cameras on me or anything. I did it because I put my mind to it, like, and people want to look at the finished product, but I always remind them, look, dude, this was not easy by any means. By any means was it easy. Far from it. So it's tough.
Man, I didn't know that. You shot 45% this year?
And
You might be able to shoot with me a little bit. Okay.
any day of the week.
Hey man,
What's
you know
up?
we can run it
I'm
whenever.
here.
I make my way out there. We gonna have to
Say
get to
less.
it one of these days. Man, that's amazing. Okay, so going on from there, yeah, Rutgers first 2 years, do you have those times, those experiences, those adversities that whether it be through just a transition or even something like changing your shot, and then you go and you're in a situation where you
Mhm.
call for a change of scenery. What was that transition like? Um, Going from one place to another, going in that transfer portal, mentally, what was that like going through all of that? And ultimately kind of what led you to that decision in terms of choosing
I'll tell you
Oral
what,
Roberts?
it was definitely tough for me to, because going into college, I always had the mindset, I don't want to transfer. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be at school for 4 years. I want to deal with adversity. I want to always come out on top and say that I was able to do like everything at one place. And obviously, it didn't work out like that for specific reasons, but I
Hmm.
feel like going into the portal, I hate the portal so much. I do. Because you can never
I know the
tell
feeling.
what's right, what's wrong, uh, who's telling the truth, who's lying, who's just trying to get you there. Um, and it was tough for me, but I'll tell you what, one aspect about ORU and why I went there, one, God, I truly believe God led me to ORU. And not, I know it may, to some people, it may sound tacky. ORU is a Christian school, by the way, for those who don't know. But
Right.
I definitely grew in faith with God while I was at ORU, and I continue that growth as I've left, as I've graduated. So, and I'll tell you what, and this is no knock on Jersey. I love Jersey, but Tulsa is a lot more God driven in an area than New Jersey. So it was a different change of pace for me. I was surrounded by a lot of positivity in Tulsa while it wasn't always the same way in New Jersey. So it definitely helped me a lot off the floor mentally, but on the floor, I developed a lot as a player. I kept my same work ethic, worked on different things, worked on expanding my game and gaining that confidence, just keep building on it. So, it was great. It was a real good experience for me. I've also met some lifelong friends that I've made there just as much as I did at Rutgers. So, it was a blessing to be at both destinations.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I can, definitely kind of attest to that a little bit in terms of just being down
Mhm.
south, being kind of like that Bible
Facts.
Belt type of region. It's
Yeah.
different. It's a lot different. Um, the environment, the positivity, the Southern hospitality as a whole, just the support that people give you, whether you're up or you're down, and kind of the drive behind that being God and being Jesus is this different. It's a different type of environment, but you know, I think it's nothing but a positive environment. It definitely pushes
Mhm.
you in the right direction. You know. So then being at ORU, right? Last 2 years, um, man, I mean, just even knowing how you work, but also just hearing about how you work down there. Um, Having gone through some adversity when you were there, right? Can you speak to that? And then from there, kind of the triumph that came out on the other side, um, you know, as you're getting ready
Yeah.
to transition
Well,
here.
multiple adversities there. And of course, I'm going to go back to injuries. I partially tore my MCL at the end of the game against Texas A&M. I go up for a block, and my right foot lands on the goalpost, and my left foot lands on the ground first and bends inward towards the ground. Luckily, and like I told you, bro, I have no clue if I pulled up the clip. I have no clue how I didn't tear everything in my knee, and I'm so blessed for that. I couldn't even walk afterwards, but I prayed all the way home, prayed before my MRI. Only had a partial MCL tear, which was still tough and hard to get back from, but a lot better than what
Mhm.
it could have been. And that definitely hurt my first season at ORU because I never got to play back at 100% for the rest of the season. And that was tough
Mhm.
for me. So going into my senior year, I feel like I had a lot to prove, and which I did, and I definitely upped my game to another level. And unfortunately, I started dealing with shoulder injuries again. This time it was on my shooting shoulder. Somehow,
Uh,
somehow I maintained the ability to shoot very well, even when I was putting hella tape on my shoulder, hella icy hot before games, popping a bunch of Advil before games. Like I was able to shoot the ball well and able to still do my thing out there. But at the same time, like it wasn't just I can't sit here and just say it was by luck. It took a lot of meticulous hours and dedication to where it's like I'm making sure I'm the first one in the training room. I'm making sure I'm the last one leaving. I make sure I'm doing prehab and rehab so that it doesn't affect
mhm.
me to the best of my ability, not only for myself but for my teammates. Uh, I think through the adversity and through the injuries and through stuff off the court as well, God is the one that led me through it, and God continues to lead me through those same things today in my everyday life. So it's just a blessing.
Man, do you feel like that kind of first shoulder injury and going through that adversity
Yeah.
kind of prepared you for a lot of things that you
Yep.
dealt with in college and going through the knee? Because I mean, I had a situation this past year. I had a teammate, and he had injured his ankle pretty badly, and he didn't quite return the way he wanted to, just because he was doing the rehab and the thing that he was asked to do when it came to recovery, but he wasn't necessarily doing above and beyond and going the extra mile to do
Hmm.
prehab, rehab, be the first person there, be the last person there, right? So, um, everything that you went through, right, going through that whole process, would you say that really just helped you prepare for that adversity you
It
went through
definitely
when you were at
did.
Oral
And
Roberts?
I'll say it just gives me a different perspective of like what's important. You know, like a lot of people, and this may be sidetracked a little bit, but a lot of people ask me, "Why are you always smiling? Why are you always smiling?" To the point where I think I probably even like
Uh,
not bothered, but people really raise questions like this dude might be weird because I'll always be walking around smiling with a big old smile on my face, and I'm like, dude, I'm just happy. You know, like I'm just happy
Yep.
to be here, and I'm happy to have this opportunity every single day. And if an injury is the worst thing that's happening in my life right now, I can turn on the news right now and show you tenfold of things that are going worse for other people. So, you know, I just try to make sure that I stay
Mhm.
level headed and stay grounded in those terms and just count my blessings every day and make sure I spread that positive energy towards those around me.
And I'm sure that kind of gives you a mindset of, you know what, I'm not going to take these
Yep.
opportunities I'm getting
Yep.
for granted either. Um, because even though, despite I'm, you know, in this situation where I have an injury, one, there's things on the news tenfold that's going on that's worse. But even on from that, I have this injury, but I'm in a place where I have the resources to build myself back up physically. So, you know, all together, it's just a really, really good situation. Going on from there, uh, you know, finishing up at ORU, looking back at this whole part of your journey because your journey is nowhere near done. Going back, looking at the high school, looking at college, looking at the injuries, adversities, all the way up to the triumphs, going from shooting 0% from three to shooting
Yep.
45% from three, right? Which is an insane turnaround. Um, I mean, that's got to be I would have to go and guess top 10, top 20 shooting percentages in the country from 3-point range. You know, what is something that you look back at and you're like, all of this made you or taught you this about yourself? What's that thing that all your adversities and all your experiences kind of taught you about yourself and the person that
It's
you are?
it's taught me that I'm resilient and it's taught me that I have the right crew around me, from my family to my past
Hmm.
teammates to my extended family that I was talking about, um, to my mentors. I credit them so much to being such a great support system. And I credit my parents, most importantly, for allowing me to be a relatable person to others because, you know, nobody's entitled to help me in life. I'm not entitled to help anybody in life either, but I feel like people are drawn to me and I'm drawn to others because of how I was raised, and that connection
Hmm.
has just guided me on a great path. And of course, sometimes I stray away from that path. Everybody does. Like, but ultimately, I'm always going towards that one goal of not being a good basketball player, but being a great person in life, you know? So, and I try my best. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm, like I said, I'm far from perfect. I'm reminded every single day that I'm far from perfect, but I try my best to live that straight and narrow and try to meet my goals and try to do what I think is right. So, you know, it's definitely eye opening through my journey and how that's impacted me.
Man. And, you know, through this whole episode, you've kind of raved a little bit about your support system, how they've been there for you, how they've helped mold who you are as a person, right? It's very clear to me that, you know, some people are in situations where they don't always have the support that they need. For you, it's very clear and you make it known that they're there for you and even in tough times, whether it be kind of like through pushing you or supporting you that they were able to give you what you needed in whatever way, whether you realize it or not, right? What's something that to your support system, if there's one thing you could say as you went through these times, as you went through these adversities, as you went through these injuries, what message would you relay to them?
I would tell them you didn't have to, but you did anyway, through the good and the bad. And I'll forever, and continue to this day, appreciate you for it. Because there wasn't always times when I wanted to listen. There wasn't always times when I wanted to do the things that I was told or advised, but ultimately, no matter what, they've reciprocated that love back to me, and it's made me a better person, and it's shaped me to who I am today.
You, you about to eat your up. I made me tear up,
I
man.
just tell the truth, man.
Mm, man, I know me and you don't always talk all the time, but I even remember the times where I would sometimes
Uh-huh.
call you for advice, where I sometimes call you just to check in and just knowing the type of person you are, the type of impact that not only the people around you have made on you, but the type of impact that you make on us as well. Uh, that thankfulness is
Uh-huh.
twofold. It goes both ways. And I can truly say that from my heart. Going on as we start to come near the end, near the closing here, what would you say through your whole experience, this one especially through the adversities, you know, it was tough. It wasn't always the easiest journey for you. But what is one thing that despite all of that that you would not give back? What's one thing you gained from this whole journey through the adversities, through the ups and the downs that you wouldn't give back no
I would
matter what?
definitely just say the people I've met, and it's that simple. Like, I don't think that through the experiences, through anything, through the ups and downs, the people that were around me are the people that I will remember and the people that I will always be able to go back to, share these memories with, share the triumphs and the failures with, like, so I wouldn't trade those people for nothing. I wouldn't have wanted to go through it with anybody else. And I definitely want to go through the rest of my life with those people that are around me. I want to live in the moment and I don't want to live in like some fantasy where I could choose everything to be perfect. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to have a perfect life. Nobody wants to say it. If you won the lottery today, you're not just gonna stop completely doing everything and just live off of money. You're still gonna want to have purpose. You're still gonna want to be able to make your own decisions, be able to fail, be able to build yourself back up and tell your kids one day and your family, I went through this, but I found a way. And that's how I became who I am today. And you want to pass that on to your next generations and the ones after that and on and so on.
Yeah. Man, you giving us all the nuggets. You giving man.
I gotta gatekeep a little bit. I gotta keep something, right?
Okay. Hey, I don't know. You giving us a lot. You giving us a lot of knowledge now.
Shoot, I'm low
Lord.
key unk. Hey, I'm low
Get
key
my
unk
words
now,
out.
man. 22.
Hey, you getting up there. You getting up there. You know. Um, Second to last question. What's something that for all the people watching, for the people listening, um, kids that's going through what you went through, or even after going through similar type of situations, um, that are still dealing with the mental aspect of it, or even your peers, right? That have been through certain situations that haven't been through certain situations, and just the people listening in general that have gone through their own adversity or are looking for their own triumph. What is something that you have to tell them specifically?
Allow God to lead you. And to the best of your ability, don't fight it. Uh I definitely have not liked some of the feedback, some of the things that I feel like God has pushed me towards at times. But when I look back at it, I'm just
Mhm.
always like, man, I was put in this position for a reason. I may not have known at the time, but let Him guide your life and try to be open minded and have open arms to everything that's presented to you.
And lastly, all right, this is the Uncontainable podcast by Lou Hutchinson. So, Jalen, what does it mean to you to be
Ooh,
uncontainable?
I would definitely say it means to be free for me. And sort of like it says, it's in the words. Nobody can put me in the box. I
Mhm.
know who I am. I'm confident in myself, and I like to spread that energy towards everybody else. So, for everybody out there, continue to be uncontainable, like my friend and honestly family, Lou Hutchinson. Be uncontainable and have fun. Enjoy life. Don't have any regrets. Just live and learn. Most importantly, like they say, laugh, have fun.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's amazing, dude. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Thank you for joining me, man. I've enjoyed this, and man,
No,
that
for
was
sure.
fantastic,
Definitely gotta when I
man.
start
Thank you
mine
all.
up, I definitely gotta get you with me, man.
Hey, we there. Come on now, we
Yes,
there.
sir.
We're there. Thank you for watching Uncontainable by Lou Hutchinson, featuring Jalen. Please subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode of Uncontainable.